Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Intro to CUFA live stream. Thank you for joining us. My name is Hanadi Shatara, and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. And I would like to introduce my lovely program chairs, the program committee for CUFA 2021. Anna, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Anna Falkner, and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Memphis.
Hi, my name is Esther Kim, and I'm an assistant professor at William & Mary.
We also have with us Janelle, who can introduce herself as well.
Hi, I'm Janelle Rosenberg. I am the chair of the CUFA Graduate Forum.
Wonderful. And we will have a representative who will be joining us shortly from the Scholars of Color Forum. And we will also discuss the small college and university faculty forum as well, too. Before we begin, we want to thank Dan Krutka with setting this up and being able to talk about what we have in store for CUFA 2021 and also what is this organization, actually. So thank you, Dan, for setting this up for us.
No problem. I'm excited to be here. I guess I should do my introduction. Should I introduce myself too? Sorry, I should have done
Why
that.
not? Yes, go for it.
I'm Dan Krutka. I'm just going to kind of help moderate today. So I'm excited to be with you all. I'm excited what you all are doing for the conference. And I'm an associate professor at the University of North Texas with Dr. Amanda Vickery, who also has a huge role in the conference as the CUFA chair right now.
Wonderful. And we'd love to also thank Amanda Vickery for choosing us, bringing us together to plan this conference. She's been a great inspiration to us and to our work. So we definitely want to shout out Amanda Vickery as well, too.
So I think the first thing we should do to get started here is to talk a little bit about what is CUFA. So for people that aren't familiar, can you all help introduce them to CUFA?
Yes, so CUFA stands for the College and University Faculty Assembly, and that is connected to the National Council for the Social Studies. So we are a community of researchers and educators that come together and discuss our research, connect, network, giving presentations, all those things. And it's a community that brings people who are very much invested into social studies together. Anyone want to add anything else?
I love that description. I've heard CUFA described as the research arm of NCSS, right? So it's the people that are interested in and working on research. I always appreciated that description. I'd never thought of it, besides the fact of thinking of CUFA as being an actual appendage on NCSS. I always found funny.
And I think it even goes like it is the research arm as like the appendage, if you want to say that, but it's also this like community of people coming together who are teacher educators, who are invested in what it means to do social studies education, teach social studies education. So I think it is research, but it's also so much more at the same time as well, too.
So our next question I've got for you all to help people who don't know about CUFA is, what are some of the advantages of being a member of CUFA? What do you all get out of it, and what do members get out of it?
I'll jump in here. I think one of the big advantages that people get out of it is that idea around community and thinking about how do we engage in conversations with people that are different from our everyday colleagues. So one of the things that we've been talking a lot about as the chairs this year is around teachers as researchers, and how might teachers join us in the conversation about social studies research this year at CUFA 21. And because we know that teachers are doing research and making decisions in their practice every day at CUFA. So this is Pippi, by the way. Say hello to the good people at home, Pippi. So really thinking about how CUFA might be a space where they can discuss those questions and really learn about and contribute to that conversation about new social studies research. It's what we do as researchers, but it's also what a lot of us did as teachers. Pippi is a cat.
Thanks, Anna. I think that really does hone in on like how we are trying to really think about teachers as researchers and how like that's definitely one of the advantages. Another advantage, especially for those who are graduate students or those who are maybe not as familiar with the kind of the university portion of social studies, is really the time to really meet with people who are doing similar work to you, people who are invested in social studies, listening to their research, to their work, to the ways that they are creating community, the ways that they are teaching in terms of methods coming together. And it's a time for you to network and meet those people who are doing that work and possibly get some partnerships, make some connections. I think it's really great for even people who are graduate students and those who might be lecturers or not necessarily professors, but those people who are invested in those things. I think there is a way to really meet different people who are doing social studies work. And hello to the cat.
So sorry, I just saw a tail, and I'm very much a bias towards dogs, and that's my fault. I need to work on that. So I think you all have kind of answered this a little bit already, but what does the conference look like for people who are attending? And of course, considering that maybe last year made things a little bit different with the pandemic and it being a virtual conference, which it had never been before, and I'm guessing you all are still trying to figure out exactly what it's going to look like this upcoming year. So what does the conference experience look like for people who attend?
So obviously everything is pending. We don't know, can't read the future, so we don't know what it's going to look like in November. But one thing that really, and I think we had mentioned this earlier, thinking about what CUFA is that CUFA 21 is really all about community and kind of reimagining what community is, especially given the fact that that CUFA 2020 was virtual as the first time, and there was a lot of concern about how can we have a conference online that hasn't been like this before, especially given the year that we've had in 2020. We were definitely inspired by Amanda Vickery, Dr. Vickery, who is the CUFA chair. And the reason why we were inspired by that is that she selected the three of us to plan this conference when it's usually one person. And so even with that, by having three people plan the conference, it was a way for us to think about, like, what does it mean to collaborate? What does it mean to be connected, especially within like an intellectual community, whether, we are influenced by it or not, how are we imagining community right now in a general sense, with our own work and with our students when we are teaching, and with our students' if we're teaching pre-service teachers. So, how are we thinking and rethinking about those things, especially in the wake of so much trauma and hardships that we've had within the past year? And that was kind of our inspiration for what the conference call and the theme really was about. It's like very much rooted in that.
So I guess the next question then would be, so how can people who want to know about CUFA, where can they learn more?
Can definitely pass it on to one of my program chairs, but I don't mind also being the spokesperson for now.
Well, I'll put a plug in for the unofficial CUFA website, which was designed by my 9-year-old. So he's very excited to be a big part of CUFA this year. He begged me to get to do the website, so I'll put a plug in for that. It's got the call for proposals on there, and it'll have updates about the conference and local music, places to go eat and drink, all that kind of good stuff. You can go there to find out more.
And we will definitely be updating it. We have some other events that we're going to be having online, and that unofficial website will also include those things as well too.
And if you search for CUFA on like any social media site, you'll probably be able to find it. Although I will say on Facebook, there are probably 3 different CUFA sites. So you have to find the one that actually has a picture of people seated all together. That is the actual official CUFA site for Facebook. And there's always going to be information put up there.
I'll also add that the official CUFA site, which I think has most of links to most of this stuff, is cufa.socialstudies.org. And so that can be another way to access a lot of this material. Do you want to share about the call and share the call link now? Would this be a good time?
Sure, why not? Like I said before, the call was really inspired by community, and I think there were many other things that we were thinking about as we were crafting this call that I think were very important to what social studies education, what it is right now, and how we want to reimagine it.
And so you can see at the bottom of the screen here the call for proposals, tinyurl.com/ and you can read this yourself. TinyURL just got rid of the free. Now you have to buy an account. I don't know if you all saw that. And then you all also have this link for website submissions site. You can submit there.
Great.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh, there's also another the CUFA site that is through NCSS. It's CUFA2021.socialstudies.org. That's also a place where you can put your submissions, and we will have our call for reviewers at some point in the near future. So that if you're interested in reviewing any of the proposals that we also have too, we will be setting that up hopefully soon so that you're able to participate even at not just the proposal level, but also as a way to see, what proposals do we want at this conference. That was very much inspired by all the events that had happened in 2020. Most of our call, I don't know if you all have noticed, but we definitely cited many women of color, and only women of color in our call, to show that we wanted to have this representation that has long been ignored and neglected. And it's something that is very important to us and how we want the conference to be. We're still in the preliminary stages of planning. We still have a lot of ideas, and it's still a little bit early, but those are some things that we've been thinking about. And I know that my co-chairs, program chairs, can definitely speak more about how this call was was created.
So
yes,
the feel I'm getting is that people in the YouTube stream are very excited, specifically Neil Shanks.
I see that. I see you, Neil. Thanks for the shout outs, people.
Yeah, so something I can kind of add to what Hanadi was kind of talking about in terms of making sure that we were really careful in who we cited. But part of that was also, again, kind of a vision, right, that Dr. Vikri may have had in terms of asking three women faculty to actually put this together. And so the theorists you actually see in the call are people who are very near and dear to our work, and people who have really shaped the way that we see social studies, the way that we hope social studies can start to move towards. And so that was kind of one of the reasons behind us making sure that we were citing very specific people. And we also made sure that the citations weren't necessarily limited to social studies, because we wanted to really push the thought of our field into thinking about things in a more interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary way, to really kind of reimagine something, right? So let's get rid of the boundaries that were normally around, CUFA, around our research, around the way we think about methods and the way we think about the divide between the university and the school, like the school classroom and teachers. And so we really are hoping for kind of a more transdisciplinary space where more people are welcome, where more thoughts are welcome. So, yeah.
I'll build on that.
So
sorry. I was just going to say, one of the things I really loved about working on the call and being inspired by these awesome scholars and their goals and our goals kind of collectively around thinking transdisciplinary in transdisciplinary ways is just how much, like when we came together, we were able to see things with more complexity and more nuance. And so that's what we're really hoping to see from everybody at the conference.
Well, I'll just say, the last few years, CUFA has seen just such an increase in these beautiful call for proposals that are thoughtful, that are deeply engaged in work around justice. And you didn't used to get that. I feel like you used to get like, hey, submit your proposals, and people would submit their proposals. And so it's really incredible what you all put together. Are there more comments about CUFA, or would you all like to talk about some of the affiliated groups?
Definitely start with our affiliated groups. We have a new representative here from one of the affiliated groups, so we definitely have we can definitely start with that. And let's start with the Graduate Forum, so that graduate students who might be here listening to thinking about what is CUFA, what is this? Can be a space for you to engage in. So, Janelle, take it away.
Hey, well, just to say again, my name is Janelle Rosenberg. I am the chair of the CUFA Graduate Forum, and we are a group of graduate students, and our goal is to promote the common interest of graduate students. We provide opportunities for networking, community building. We have our own call for proposals at CUFA as well, so graduate students want to dip their toes in, get some great advice from faculty members. I highly recommend that you guys submit your work to that. We have a mentorship program where we can link you with a faculty member either through a professional mentorship or a writing mentorship. So if you have any work that you want an extra pair of eyes, that's a great way to meet other faculty members as well as get some advice for your work. So we have a lot of great reaching out events that we try to do. We have meet and greets at CUFA. We have our shout outs and our spotlights. We like to congratulate a lot of our graduate students who are doing excellent work around the nation. And we're kind of hoping to create a smaller community within the CUFA graduate students. I believe that as a graduate student, sometimes things can get intimidating, or you feel that you don't really know many people out there. So this is a great place for you to meet other graduate students, to have these conversations. If you're feeling that imposter syndrome, you can talk to other graduate students who are in the same stage that you are. So it's an excellent way to meet people, potentially find working buddies that you can write with who share common interests. So we highly recommend that you guys join us at the CUFA Graduate Forum, whether you are a graduate student or a faculty member who would like to join us and share your expertise. We have conversations with colleagues where we have faculty members come in and we have discussions, some discussions like how did your first year as a new professor went, to give us advice when we go into that job market. So that's a little bit about the CUFA Graduate Forum. We have our own Facebook group, our own website. Keep a lookout for that, and we can share that with you all.
I definitely want to shout out the Graduate Forum. That's where I met my lovely co-program chairs, was in the Graduate Forum. I think Esther and I were at a table together and that's how we first met, because we were talking about our work and we made that connection. But also for those who are interested in, like even teachers or other people who are interested in pursuing graduate school, this is also a great opportunity for you to come and see, what is graduate school like? What is it like to work on your doctorate or your master's degree and stuff like that. So this is definitely an opportunity for those who are interested.
Can I also make a plug for a Grad Forum? Is what the conference where I met Hanadi at the same table. It was actually a pretty incredible experience where I got really good feedback on my research and writing, and it just happened to be the faculty person who was doing this just happened to be someone I cited in my work. And so to get that type of feedback it was unexpected. It was like my second year of grad school, and it was just an amazing space to get that type of mentoring. So definitely a great place.
It's also a really cool place to get some exposure in a kind of a safe way. Like one of the things that happened to me my first year presenting at Graduate Forum is that somebody happened to come to my session some senior scholar, and in subsequent years, they would come to some of my other sessions, and they came up to me and they said, "I really love your work, and I've loved watching you grow across the years." So if you're, trying to figure out how to find your place in the field, it's a great place to start.
Those are such great stories. Does anyone else want to share a story before we move on to another one of the affiliated groups? So what I'm hearing is the CUFA Grad Forum is a great place for support, for meeting people, often finding people with similar interests, and then finding future program chairs who you're going to work with very specifically to you all. So,
isn't that the chain? Isn't that what happens? That's the next. Next.
I wish I had done the Grad Forum. It's really cool to see what it's become and what it is. And I was at TAP. If anyone's watching who is not as familiar with CUFA, I wish I'd been able to do that, because it really does provide that gateway in. And I went to CUFA my first year as a professional and didn't know anyone and kind of walked around lonely, and was so fortunate to have a couple CUFA members, JB Mayo and Kathleen Ingebrigtsen, take me under their wing and invite me to social stuff because I didn't know anyone. And so the Grad Forum really can help to prevent you having to walk around, like me, like I was the first day of a new school. So would you all like to next talk about the Scholars of Color Forum, or would you like to talk about SCUF?
Let's talk about the Scholars of Color Forum if Dee's ready.
Yeah, sorry. I've been on screen all day, so it's been I had to teach, and even though I'm working on my dis and finishing, like I'm in this class about publication, so I'm trying to figure out how to publish figure out how to publish, and so I'm in a class. So I came straight from this class that I am in. So I might sound a little more scatterbrained and not as organized, but hopefully I can get across what the Scholars of Color Forum is. And so my name is, everyone, you'll see my name formally out there in the universe as Delandria Hall, but everyone calls me Dee. And so I am I guess I'm the chair of the Scholars of Color Forum. And so the Scholars of Color Forum, so it started from all the things that I've read and the research on the history, started in 2015. And I think that for Black, Indigenous people of color, for scholars that were not white, CUFA felt like a really white space. And so they established the Scholars of Color Forum as a area for BIPOC grad students and faculty to kind of be together in community with each other and talk to each other, talk about their experiences in the academy, their experiences in CUFA. And so it's grown from what I've understood. Like, I might be older than some of the people that started it, but I came later. And so what we've really done is grown, and there's more and more people. Like, I never felt, I always felt like this was just such a welcoming space, and it wasn't overly white to me, but that's because I'd always had this community right here for us. And so if you ever feel like you need a community and you don't have that at your own school, because schools can be, especially PWIs, can be really isolating for people of color. Like, it can be that space. And so we have to come together. We have this opportunity to come together every CUFA and talk about our research and our work. And we sponsor sessions. So we've sponsored a paper sessions. We sponsored roundtables. It always depends kind of what we feel like doing that year or how we like to make our impact felt within CUFA. Last year they did, in 2020, we did a paper session, I believe. And if I can remember right, it's all going together. And it was great because even though we were in this space online, it felt really great to see so many people there and have a conversation about the work that people are doing. So we really want to highlight the work of scholars of color that are doing good things and telling about what students of color and teachers of color are doing in schools. And so we really try to focus on that. It's also a community space where you like to have fun. Well, I like to have fun. And I've met some really great people there. And you can be in multiple forums. So like you can be in Grad Forum, and you can also be in SCUF, and you can be in the Scholars of Color. Like you can be in multiple forums and get community in each of those spaces, because each space offers something different. And so we would love more and more members to come out, and I think we've really grown. This year, our goal is really to kind of create a repository where we have all of our members and what they published and kind of put it in a spreadsheet so that we can really address these issues of citation and the politics of citation. So we're really going to do that. And we've been working with Dr. Hockman in the SIG, the Social Studies SIG. So we're doing webinars with them. So that's something else that we're doing with them. And we would love people to, join us. So that's us. That's my spiel. And I'm sorry I was late.
You're good. That was a really great explanation, I think, of what it is. And you covered a lot of my follow-up questions, right? I think you talked about a lot of the advantages of the Scholars of Color Forum and what the conference looks like, right? Both the formal and informal parts of it. So how can people learn more or stay connected with the Scholars of Color Forum?
So we have a Twitter that is the is CUFA SOC Forum on Twitter. We have been a little, like, our previous media person, Chantel, was amazing and she was on top of it. We've been a little slow to get up and get going because I'm in charge and I've been real slow because my life has been crazy. But we're meeting soon to talk about getting things going. So we post on Twitter. We have an Instagram that's of the same name. And we also have a Facebook page. And so people we post things on Facebook. We're going to, as soon as we get the opportunity and we have talked, we're going to start sending out kind of blasts. I'm sorry. We're going to be sending out blasts to get, like, hopefully people CVs. I mean, we could go and find the CVs ourselves, but it would be helpful if people would send them to us. And so we'll have an email and we'll blast that out to try to get people CVs so then we can begin creating this place so that we can have all this information about what people have published in RARE. So then that way we can start citing more people of color, which is what I really appreciate about the call, is just to see the type, like all those women of color in that call. That is amazing to me. So I really loved the call. It was fantastic.
Well, so that was really helpful. Does anybody else who's been involved or influenced by the Scholars of Color Forum want to add anything else before we talk about SCUF?
I love the Scholars of Color Forum. It's probably, one of the many reasons why I really enjoy going to CUFA and just really connecting with people who are doing the great work. I mean, I guess Esther and I work together a lot, but like I also worked with Esther when we were on, I was a program chair, and Esther, I think you were the communications chair for Scholars of Color Forum a couple of years ago. And so it was just one of those things where we were able to grow as scholars, but also grow as leaders and kind of understand what that's like together. And I definitely think the Scholars of Color Forum is excellent and everybody there does great work. And it's just great to be in community in those spaces.
And I'll add to that. So I actually was in communications. I was in a position that no longer exists.
All right.
I was the first and the last. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. No, but yeah, to echo what Hanadi said, it's probably the space where where BIPOC scholars can feel the most welcome and free. I think it's also a space where there's just amazing mentorship, even if it's just informal mentorship, because I think when I first came to Scholars of Color Forum, it was mostly junior faculty, because a lot of scholars of color in the field who were senior faculty had left. And so it was interesting to kind of see that dynamic, but it's been several years now, and to see kind of actual, like, your colleagues in the forum start to move into like tenured positions and start to get more experience and offer kind of more mentoring. It's something that I think has slowly been growing in the Scholars of Color Forum, and has just been a really great space to be in.
And I just want to say one more thing, if my brain will remember what I was about to say, because it just escaped me. Oh my God, it just escaped me what I was going to say. And it's going to come back to me later.
Okay, I'm going to say something and maybe that'll help you remember. I'll just say, as someone who is not a scholar of color, I'm a white lady, in case you couldn't tell, that the Scholars of Color sessions every year absolutely blow me away. They have influenced my work so much, and every year they push me in ways that I didn't even know that I needed to be pushed. So even if you are not a scholar of color, I encourage you to be listening to what they have to say and the work that they're doing, because they are the direction that we're all trying to go.
And I remembered. Okay. So also, Scholars of Color, I think, is also a place for me as a grad student. I've been able to kind of leave a mark. And so if you're a grad student who feels like I haven't been able to really leave a mark, maybe in the publishing world or like all these different places, I think that's one way, because like I'm a grad student and I am the chair of this forum. So like in a lot of grad students, like we're like mostly it was just Jesus, and then who is a junior faculty member at Auburn, but then the rest of us were grad students. So like we were able to kind of make our own impact as a grad student. So if you're a grad student, you can make an impact on CUFA through Scholars of Color, where in other spaces maybe you feel like you can't. And you get to work with junior and senior faculty members of color. So that's also something to consider.
Thank you all for sharing. I think that was really helpful, and I agree with the sentiments about Scholars of Color Forum being real leaders in our organization and putting on incredible sessions, and a lot of that's reflected in our literature in our field. I think that's correct. That's the direction a lot of the work is hopefully going in our field. So I think our last forum that we have is SCUF, which I had to go look up to make sure I got the full name right. And Small Colleges and Universities Faculty Forum. Who wants to get us started off in learning a little bit about what is SCUF?
I can definitely start. Unfortunately, the SCUF chair, Dr. Carrie, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, so I'm going to spell it, Muente. Shared, she's unable to make it. And so we have a snippet about what is SCUF and what is it within social studies. So I can read that for the audience. So SCUF, again, stands for Small College and University Faculty Forum. Is a place for social studies educators to work in small colleges or universities to gather and discuss issues in social studies education. What defines a small college and university is very flexible, with members working in R2 universities to non-tenure track faculty, or work where school enrollment is about 1,000 to even the hundreds. So it can be very, very small. In many cases, members of SCUF tend to wear like many hats, from content and methods instructors to administrators, and or make up even a department of one. So it could be like you're the only social studies educator in the whole department, or you're the only education person in that department. And so sometimes with that, it makes it difficult to engage in collaboration and in research because because of the nature of the small universities and colleges. So the SCUF community provides means to engage in research and collaboration and connectivity with others who educate in these small places, these spaces that have limited resources. You can definitely check out SCUF. They have a Facebook page, which is SCUF, SCUFF. And I think they also have small college and university faculty forum attached to their Facebook page, and it's also open to the public. So even if you're not necessarily a CUFA member, you're able to join that Facebook page. And that's about it for SCUF. It is a really nice organization. They also have a session that is they also sponsor a session within the CUFA program. So that's something in a place, especially if you're at a small university, this is definitely an opportunity, like we said before, to really network, to meet people who might have similar spaces. And that's a way for you to get some of that support, or if you're trying to do any new initiatives and stuff like that. So definitely check out SCUF. It's on Facebook. I'm not sure if they have Twitter, Instagram, but they're definitely on Facebook.
Very nice. Well, that's really, and I think the theme, right, is all these organizations within CUFA allow places for people to find homes, right, and to find colleagues to collaborate with. And I think SCUF is a great organization because they look at, some people at small colleges and universities have, like we've said, like limited not even just limited faculty around them, but limited resources sometimes for travel or other things. And I think that's a big challenge that CUFA faces if we really want to be connected to the social studies world, is to find how do we connect with people who may not be at R1 universities or may not have a large amount of funding, or maybe graduate students trying to work their way through school. And so, but once you arrive, there's all these organizations that are doing so much. So I think, so we've gone through all of CUFA. We've talked about, the whole organization. We've talked about all of the other forums. What else? What do we need to, how do we want to finish up here? What do we want to remind people of and leave them with?
So we do have a proposal workshop session called Workshop Your Proposal, which is on February 22nd at the same time, 5 to 6 Central, and then you all can do all the time zone math. And that is an opportunity for you to have, if you have an outline of your proposal, you have your full proposal, you have an idea, it's an opportunity for you to come in and be like, okay, how can I write a proposal that really aligns with the themes that we've had within the call, as well as what is expected. And that's an opportunity for you to come in. Again, another space to build community, another space to get support. And it's open to everybody, not just graduate students, but we also want to open it up to teachers, K-12 or P-12 teachers and educators at community colleges, lecturers, many different spaces. It's even veteran folks. If you want to come, feel free to come. But that's the next opportunity that we have in store. And definitely, we want to see proposals come in that are really aligned with those themes that we have within the call.
Let me verify. Did I get the dates correct on here? Is it February 22nd? Is that the date you said? Okay. Just wanted to make sure that I had that correct.
I was about to check my calendar just to make sure.
Well,
and that's Monday.
It's really cool. It's really cool you all are doing this, because most program chairs don't take the time out to work with people on workshops and to help teach about the organization. So it's very cool. So I think if there's not anything else you all have, I think we're close to finishing up. Any parting words of wisdom, advice, or what's coming?
Hopefully all of us are coming to Minneapolis in 2021 for CUFA.
That's good. That's what I was looking for. Just kind of a...
I was going to say, I would love to see everyone in person. Like, I'm tired of Zoom. I'm so tired.
Yes, we're hoping that, inshallah, hopefully, God willing, let's let's get there. Let's get in person. You know, we're hoping that it'll be in person, but just know that things can change, as you know. And so we will definitely be in communication with everyone and everything through every medium that we are accessible to be able to let you know if there are things that have changed. Wonderful.
Okay, with that,
thank you so much,
yeah,
Dan, for providing this opportunity for us to talk about CUFA, our organization, and what we're thinking about for 2021.
It was great. It was great learning from you all, and I love seeing everything you all are doing and can't wait for the conference. So yeah, thank you all. And thanks everyone who tuned in. Of course, recommend this to people if they couldn't watch it live. This will be available on YouTube at the same link. So thank you all. I don't know, do we wave when we're on Zoom?